In this video, we're going to build out GitHub authentication in a React application using Supabase. To get started, we'll visit app.supabase.io, sign in, and then click New Project. Here, we'll give the project a name and password, and then click Create New Project. Once the project's been created, we'll click on Settings, and then API, and then copy the config URL to our clipboard. Next, we'll go to GitHub and open our settings. Here we can click Developer Settings and then OAuth Apps. Here we can register a new OAuth application, giving the application a name and a homepage URL of localhost 3000. For the callback URL, we can use our Supabase URI appended with /auth/v1/callback. Once the application's been registered, we'll be given a client ID. Click Generate a new client secret to generate a client secret. Back in the Supabase dashboard, we can configure this new application. Here we'll click on Authentication and then Settings and then toggle GitHub Enabled. In the GitHub configuration, we can now paste in our GitHub client ID and client secret. Once we've saved this new configuration, we can open up our terminal and start building out the front end. Here we'll use npx to create a new React application. Next, we'll change into the new directory and install @supabase/supabase-js. Now we can open up the project in our text editor. The first thing we'll do here is create a client.js file in the src directory. Here we'll be configuring our Supabase client. Here we'll import create client from Supabase, and then create a new variable called Supabase, calling create client, passing in 2 empty strings. Create client takes in 2 arguments, one for the Supabase URI and the other for the anonymous public key. We can get those values by clicking on Settings and then API in the Supabase dashboard. Next, let's open src/app.js. Here we'll start by deleting some of this boilerplate code. We'll import useState and useEffect from React to manage local state and deal with lifecycle methods. We'll also import the Supabase client that we created in the previous step. In the app component, we'll create some local state to manage the user state. We'll then configure useEffect. Here we'll be needing to call a function called checkUser, which we'll create and we'll populate later. We'll also add a window event listener for hash change so that we can detect when the OAuth redirect has happened and then recalling checkUser on redirect. In the checkUser function, we can call supabase.auth.user and then call the setUser function, passing in the user returned from Supabase. The sign-in with GitHub method will call supabase.auth.signin, setting the provider as GitHub. Finally, we'll create a function called signout that will call supabase.auth.signout and then update the local state of the user, setting it to null. In our UI, we can now check if a user exists, and if it does, we can say hello user.email and then giving them an option to sign out. If the user does not exist, we say hello, please sign in, and then give them a button to sign in with GitHub. We can now test this out by opening our terminal and running npm start. When we click sign in, we're redirected to GitHub to authenticate. Once we've authenticated, we're now redirected back to our local application. We can also log out the user information to take a look at the metadata returned from Supabase.